And you're welcome back to the Pulse. Now, the Education Ministry has released 57.4 million Ghana cedis to cover the cost of feeding grants and student allowances of some 46 colleges of education across the country. Teacher trainees have been on the neck of the ministry for the past 7 months, saying many of their members have been left in a state of despair as all attempts to get the monthly stipend paid has proven futile. Well, the situation is compounded by an imminent shortage of food across various colleges of education here in Ghana. However, in a bid to redeem its pledge of paying the trainee allowances, government says it has now released some 57.4 billion cedis to cover the cost of both feeding and the student allowances. So let's bring you some excerpts of that statement we received from the Ministry of Education, pointing out that the government of Ghana, through the Ministry of Education, has released an amount of 57,460,000 Ghana cedis, covering feeding grants and also student allowances to 46 colleges of education in Ghana. The ministry hereby reiterates its commitment to sufficiently resourcing and collaborating with all institutions under its ambit in its quest to improve and sustain the quality of education in Ghana. And that statement is coming through from the ministry. Well, the sector minister himself, Dr. Yao Seyeduchum, is giving firm assurances that the teacher trainee allowances will not be cancelled in spite of the economic challenges confronting the country.
Government is committed to teacher trainees. You have the funds to go and feed them. Wherever their arrears will come. But let the world know, I want the media to know, that will release funds to these young men and women, gentlemen and ladies who are sitting here, but they choose to be quiet about it. We are committed to what we promised to do. And there are times when people say that maybe it's about time we abandon this idea of allowances for trainees. I want to be very provocative this morning. If you are abandoning, what leverage do you have on that student to send him to sub-school? Say, okay, I'm not going. And yes, she's not going. There's no leverage on him. Other nations that don't go by allowance still go by a certain kind of incentive regime. So it's not walking away from allowance and thinking that, yes, then we are saving money for the nation. It's not true. If you walk away from the allowance, thank you. You walk away from the allowance and you think you are saving money. You are short-changing deprived communities. So I will not advise that we walk away from it. We have to make a commitment to it and make sure we give the resources for our teacher trainees. So if you say that in other countries this is not done, in the US, where you may point to that it's not done, I work in the US system. And what they do is that teachers who take loans to go to school, if they commit to serve in the prior communities, their loans are forgiven. So it's still going to cost you. It's not going to be a situation where you do away the allowance and government doesn't have any responsibility. One, you are going to lose teachers in the private communities. Two, you have to create another system that will take teachers there. So, as Minister for Education, I'm fully committed to what my government has promised and we'll work hard to fulfill that promise. So let's take that up.
The Education Minister was speaking at the initial National Dialogue on Initial Teacher Training Dialogue or Conference, which is underway here in Accra. It's a two-day conference organized by the Colleges of Education Weekly Journal. Of course, clear indications there, but there's a lot of reactions from the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana asking government to go beyond political commitment and to entrench the teacher trainee allowances into law. Joining me now is Jonathan Juno, National President of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana. Thank you so much, Jonathan. And we've had to keep you waiting because of developments in Parliament. But let me take your thoughts on the firm assurances we're getting from the sector minister as we speak. It appears that all is said and done right now as we speak. Have you received your allowance?
Not yet. The money is yet to be disbursed to the student as we speak. But from our checks, The money is with a student loan for onward disbursement.
So what's happening now is that you were set to receive all the 7 months, I guess it was 7 months in arrears, right?
Yes.
Tell us about it. Are you receiving all the 7 months
2
arrears?
months.
Government is giving only 2 out of the 7.
Yes.
Why is that the case? Have you made some checks?
No, the information just came yesterday,
Right.
and we are here to visit stakeholders and find out why 2 out of 7. But I must say that we commend government for the step they've taken to release this money, because the last time we spoke, I was telling you of a food shortage likely to hit the colleges. So I think with the 2 months, it will calm the situation down in a way, and we appreciate that from government. So in the coming days, we're meeting stakeholders to find out when the rest, the 5 months will be paid.
Tell us about how crucial this 2 months arrears has been cleared by government will be helpful, for instance, on the colleges.
I think it has come to solve this situation in a way, because as we speak, there are some students who are not able to write exams simply because allowance has delayed.
Oh, really?
Yes, like I told you, a lot of them depend on allowance. So when it delays, it causes a lot of issues in the colleges. So as it has come, I believe that most of my colleagues will use this to clear some of the debts that they owe.
How do you react to this, for instance? And we've started seeing some of these calls come through, that in the wake of the economic challenges that is confronting government and the country as a whole, some allowances, including that of teacher trainees, should not be paid any longer. What's your take on it as an association?
Over the years, over the period, teacher trainees, we've made our stand very clear as far as this issue is concerned. That if you are saying that teacher trainees shouldn't be paid allowance because of economic hardship, are you saying that they are moving out of the country? We are in the country together, there is hardship. We equally go through. So if something is coming from somewhere to cushion us, why do you ask that it should be taken away from us? It's not fair.
The argument is, for instance, in many of the colleges of education, you're now degree awarding institutions. So what you're likely to see is that you're taking a degree, just as your colleagues in any other public universities, and on top you're getting monthly stipends. That's not a fair scenario, is it?
It's equally not fair for people to compare us to our colleagues in the traditional universities. They have all the freedom. They have the chance to even work as they are in school, but we don't have that chance. We are restricted in our movements. Even what you wear is determined, where you sleep. So it's not fair to put the two of us in the same bracket.
We'll touch on the issue of the uniform a bit later on, because we understand there's a directive from the minister on that. But still on the issue of the teacher training allowances, you're even going beyond the political commitment we're seeing, for instance, from the sector minister, and asking that some steps be taken to entrench the monthly stipends, teacher training allowances into law. Why so?
Yes, because we feel that the payment should be protected. Because over the period, we've heard voices from people saying that it should be cancelled. And we are so much happy that the current government believes in the payment of teacher training allowance. So as part of that commitment, we want to sit down with them, and then we take steps in making sure that the allowance is protected going forward.
Do you want the amount also reviewed as a group? Because I've heard the indications that you gave us some time ago that even the amount in itself is not sufficient for many of your members.
It's something we are considering. In our discussion, we will open it, and then we look at the best for us and the country at large.
But give us an idea of how much you're receiving now and where you want it adjusted to in terms of the upward review.
Currently, we receive 200 cedis a month, and then 200 goes into feeding. So if we are looking at it, I wouldn't mention any figure that this is what we want. We will have to sit down and then look at what is best for the students and what is good for the nation.
We're just hearing, for instance, moments ago from the education minister, indicates clearly that if the allowances are paid to you, it gives leverage to government to try as much as possible to control you as a group. Would you say now that, I'm sorry, Jonathan will have to...